what we're seeing as some of the main problems in the electrification industry is the cost barriers to these machines. And the biggest thing people talk about are the batteries being the biggest cost driver, which is a major component. But there's also other areas that aren't really talked about, which is some of the added complexity of all the extra cables and boxes and how the system is put together. That adds costs to the machine as well. So what we did at Moog to help alleviate the complexity and help alleviate some of these cost problems is we developed what's called, in our electrification portfolio, our electronic solution. It's called the Adaptive Electrification Management System. And what this system does is it helps reduce the complexity, it reduces cost, and it puts reliability back in the system. Because at the end of the day, an end user is going to buy a machine if it makes them more money, increasing productivity, decreasing total cost of ownership. And that's the bottom line that matters. So if OEMs can provide a machine to that level, increase the productivity and lower total cost of ownership, it will sell. So we're trying to help with that. So we've done that with the Adaptive Electrification Management System.
So how are you packaging a solution that makes sense and helps reduce a lot of that complexity?
Yeah, that's a great question. So over here, this is our AEMS system. The way we have got around a lot of the packaging challenges with all the external cables that you would normally need is we have created what's called a common bus bar that runs across the top. Instead of having to have cables connect to each different box, it has a common bus bar across the top. We also have a common cooling manifold. So we eliminate all the hoses and connectors to run coolant through all the power electronics. So by eliminating all the high voltage cables that go from box to box and the coolant manifolds, we're able to save upwards of 30% savings on cost for the electric cables, the high voltage cables, as well as over 80% of the coolant cables and coolant connectors are eliminated because we were able to put in this manifold. So what we've found is by eliminating a lot of these extra parts, it's also increasing the reliability of our systems. So the biggest point of water ingress or dirt ingress is at connectors. So if you can reduce the number of connectors on your system, you're going to increase the reliability. And that's what we've done here.
Let's talk about scalability. How scalable is this solution? What type of applications do you envision it going into?
So the AEMS system can support anything from a 5-ton skid steer to a 25-ton wheel loader or excavator. So it's just a matter of how many electric motors they want to control on the machine. And then from there, we can set up whatever configuration is needed. And what's really beneficial is, for example, for one of the inverters, you just need to use one inverter, one part number for all of those machines. So it scales across all those different platforms.
With the modular approach that you're using here, repairability, the ability to service the module, or individual modules, can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, so that was a major consideration as we were designing this system, is how do we increase the serviceability of the machine, make it easier to maintain, or if something breaks or goes wrong, how is it that we can make it so that it's easier for the technicians and reduce the downtime on these machines? So these modules are designed to slide in and out like a book on a bookcase. And normally, and it also has advanced diagnostic systems built into the unit. So it's able to help the technicians detect what's going wrong, what's failed, and then they'll be able to pinpoint where that's located. And then there's significantly less components, such as the cables that we have to disconnect. So all you need to do is disconnect a couple of connectors and the module will slide out, slide a new one back in, put your connectors back on, and it's very easy to do because now the controller that's built into our system, into the AEMS solution, will automatically detect what motors it's trying to control, and it will auto configure that drive. So the technician doesn't have to go in and manually put in any code or flash anything on there. It will automatically do that for you. So all said and done, you can replace one of these modules in under 15 minutes.
Great. So if you had one last thing that you'd like to say to OEM customers and prospects, what would sell them on implementing the AEMS system for their new product development solutions?
Yeah, ultimately, like I've said at the beginning of this, is OEMs want to reduce, or end users want to have a machine that increases productivity and lowers total cost of ownership. So if an OEM wants to sell a machine, it needs to be at a price point that the end user will accept, as well as making sure that that machine is going to be reliable. So to an OEM, I would say our solution is a patent pending solution. There isn't anything out there like it. If you want to increase the reliability of your electrification system and lower the cost of your total system, the AEMS system will help you do that.